tossing water on it to soften it, and smacking it with her fists, which did nothing to the cast, but left painful red marks on her knuckles. The plaster had hardened to the point that even a tiny movement shot bolts of pain all along her chest. She couldn't get off the couch to drive to the ER. She wished her roommate, Cora, was home. Cora was a NICU nurse and would probably know what to do, but her roomie was at work. At the hospital. How was that for irony? She'd been too embarrassed to call anyone else for help. Besides, what could her friends or her dad do that she hadn't already tried? Okay, the operator said, his voice back down to a calming tone. Don't worry. The firefighters will announce who they are, so just tell them they're allowed to enter. They should be there any... A sharp knock on the door took her attention away from what the man on the phone was saying. Then a voice shouted from the other side. Hello? Miss Hayes? Denver Fire Department. Oh, they're here. She let out a deep sigh of relief before shouting, Yes, come in, the door's unlocked. Finally, this would all be over soon. Every moment this stupid white brick of a failed art project sat stuck to her chest, she felt it getting tighter and tighter. Might be a figment of her panicked imagination, but she wanted it off all the same. She thanked the operator and ended the call as her front door opened, and 3 of the biggest men she'd ever seen filed into her tiny apartment. They each wore those tan firefighter pants things with the neon stripes around the ankles, but they didn't have the matching coats on. No, these men had deliciously tight gray t-shirts hugging their every muscle like a second skin. Even the big red suspenders connected to their pants were sexy. Only a firefighter can make suspenders sexy. They swallowed up all the available space, looking like one of those calendars the department sold every year as a fundraiser. Big, strong, and sexy. Maybe it was the tight-fitting t-shirts that read Denver County Fire Department, or maybe it was the fact that they were here to set her free. One of them, the tallest one standing in the back, had a large case in his hand that looked like some kind of medical kit. The guy next to him was a bit shorter and had sandy blonde hair, but it was the firefighter in front, the one who opened the door, who drew her attention. He stepped forward. Ms. Hayes? Hello, handsome. The firefighter knelt in front of her. She nodded because she couldn't form words at the moment. She stared into the most beautiful brown eyes she'd ever seen, so pale they almost looked golden. His brown hair was short and slightly mussed. Not in an unkempt way, but in that charming, roguish way men managed to pull off. He had a long blade of a nose and a sharply cut jawline, but his lips were curved in the most charming smile. A smile that made her heart race, while at the same time putting her nerves at ease. It would be just her luck to have the sexiest firefighter in all of Colorado see her at her most embarrassing moment. Fan-freaking-tastic. I'm Kincaid. How are you doing? I've been better, she said, finally regaining her composure and finding her voice. Kincaid let out a small laugh, the sound enveloping her like a warm, cozy blanket. Wow. If firefighting ever fell through, the guy could make a fortune with his own ASMR channel. Why don't you tell us what happened? Did she have to? She really didn't want to admit to her own foolishness, especially not in front of her personal fantasy come to life. Scratch that. If this were her fantasy, she and Kincaid would be on a private beach with cold drinks in their hands and nothing but the warmth of the sun on their skin. She began, knowing she had to give them the facts so they could help her. That was why she called, after all. I'm working on a project for a possible upcoming art installation. It's a show entitled The Human Form. I'm doing a bunch of paintings, sculpture, and mixed media art pieces on the various parts of the human body and how each one represents a stage of human development and emotions. It's really a fascinating... She trailed off, noticing the other 2 men still standing just beyond her open doorway duck their heads together and murmur something. Probably talking about the weirdo art lady who got herself stuck in a ridiculous plaster cast. Sorry, she shrugged, then winced when the movement caused her skin to pull against the plaster. I tend to ramble when I get stressed. Kincaid nodded. Completely understandable. So you were making a... molding, she answered when he gestured.